Well, today I'm working on a 2021 Ford Ranger. This is a crew cab, four-wheel drive, automatic transmission. I'm just putting a radio in it here. This is just going to be, this is a company truck. This radio install doesn't have to be anything really special. Anyway, but I still want it to look decent. Just thought I'd go through it. Of course, Ford has 3 different fuse boxes as usual in these trucks. And none of the fuse box covers are actually labeled. So you got to go through your page 260 and 261 is the in the cab fuse panel here. What do they call it? Here, I'll just show you. Here we go, passenger compartment fuse box. This is the one that's in the cab of the vehicle. They mention it earlier on, but they don't actually list what fuses are for what and have the diagram here until you get to page 259 of your owner's manual. The reason why I've got this open is I'll just show you where I tied into here. So there's a few spare fuses, but I don't like using them. These ones here, 26, 27, not used, spare, and they are 30 amp fuses. The reason why I don't want to use those is I check them and they aren't keyed power, they're power all the time. So if somebody leaves their two-way radio on, doesn't turn it off, like there's going to be a lot of different people driving this truck. It's not the same operator all the time. So what's going to happen is they're going to leave it on and drain the battery. So I used this one here, tied into 18 ignition switch lock solenoid push button start. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I used. So your in-cab fuse panel is right here. So this just pulls off this panel. It's got these little clip fasteners here that are pretty cheesy. This is something that was put in when the truck was ordered from the dealership. This was not me that wired this in, just so you know. That's for the beacon light switch. So I tied into number 25 fuse up there. So you can see where I've put this jumper type fuse. Actually, that's not 25. I'll give you a better explanation here. But anyways, this is what I ended up using. It's one of these. So you're just adding another circuit to an existing circuit. And that was number 23. I believe that's something to do with door locks. Just get plugged back in here. Come on now. It's hard to film and try to get light. Line all this up. So these aren't a normal mini fuse either. I found that these are some new style of fuse. So if you don't have, this isn't the proper type of fuse, but that's the device that I used there. So you just take the fuse out of the existing circuit, put it in, and then you've got your 15 amp fuse to run off of whatever you want to wire in. The ones that are in this truck are just a little bit narrower, a little bit closer together than that. If you don't have one of these, if you can't find one of these, you can always do this. It doesn't look that great, but it's still a fusible circuit. You're just coming off the fuse here, and one of our radio installers that we've used in the past did this all the time. Still a few trucks in the fleet running around with that, the same setup, and it works okay. So what I did is I ran my wire off of that circuit. So what would that one be now? I think it's the inverter door lock switch. That's the one I used, and I haven't had any problems. I turned the radio on to a radio check, and I think there's enough to use there. So that's one of the fuses you can use to tie into your two-way radio. This is Icom radio. It's not just a head unit, it's a full radio, as I'll show you. So I just ran power wire up through here. It's easy access in here. There's lots of room, it's not tight. Here's the antenna cables in there as well, and then my ground I just ran down to right here. Right, so whatever this metal piece here is a good ground. It's tied into ground. So you can go ahead and pull your dash vent out here. Looks like this. Okay, this one just pops out the same way. It's held on with these little plastic keepers. Pull that straight out. And then you've kind of got a straight shot here where you can run your wires up. You just have to make sure that they're out of the way here. See that? I've got to kind of tuck those over, which isn't a big deal. There is room to be able to do that in there. I mean, you just make sure you got enough room that your dash vent can just pop right back in there and seal up. Then I ran it up to the radio here. So because of where these USB ports are, I can't put the radio down in that in that area there. I guess I could, but I'd have to move those and it just takes too much time to do that. I was thinking about possibly putting it in here by the driver's seat, but I think that would interfere too much with the seat going forward and back, and plus there's not a lot of leg room in these trucks to begin with, so I don't think that's a good idea to put it down there. So that's what I ended up doing, is just putting it on this little panel here, drilled a hole in the back, and that's just held on the same way. It just pops on. I lost one of those little clips there. That's really cheesy how those things are set up, but anyways, I'll show you that. Key on, and there we go, radio's on. So now the antenna wire, I ran down, keys out. So I ran the antenna wire, like I was saying, down with the power and ground cables, goes down in behind this panel here. So you got room here. I can tuck that in, just pull off your weather strip here, and you'll be able to tuck that wire down through there. Now you have to run this from the back if you're going to mount the antenna back here. I just took the dash mount because this truck has a headache rack, and I just ended up bending the fender mount and drilling a bit bigger of a hole in it there, so it would go around this 1/2 inch bolt. I like the idea of having it mounted back here instead of in the fender. So if you decide you're going to mount it in the back of the vehicle, there's a grommet back in here behind the seat. I'm going to pull that up so you can see. The carpet's the hard part, so hopefully you can you can just see the grommet there. There we go, see? So I just poked a hole through that with a chainsaw file, because it is pretty tight in here. As you can see, there's not much room with the seat. You can pull the liner up. That's the hard part to get through, actually, is this lining stuff here. I just fished it through with the coat hanger, then run your cable back down. I just tucked it underneath here, underneath the trim. I'll pop that trim up a little bit, and then I just fished it through along with this harness that's already there. Just pop these covers off. Same thing, it's just got those plastic clips on it. If you lose those, of course, you can get more at your dealership. And you just pop those back on. So I just ran the antenna wire back up through here. Along there, it's pretty quick and easy to do that if you're mounting it at the rear. If you're mounting it at the front, you can see where these wires, let's put this up. See where these wires go up through your main wiring grommet. Maybe you can't, there we go, right there. Somebody's already fished those up. I don't really like that because they wired those direct to battery. But you could run your antenna cable through there, your coax. Thing with that is it's gonna come out right down in there. So you can see where those gray wires are coming up. That's your main wire grommet there that you got to poke a coat hanger or something through. But as you can see, there's basically no room. You can't even fit your hand in there. So you've got to try to fish your wires up through here with grab a hold of it with a screwdriver and a coat hanger or something. And then it's just a direct shot. If you want to use the fender mount, just put a couple screws through your fender here and mount your antenna there if that's what you choose to do. I decided not to do that on this truck just because I think it's better mounted back here. And I just like to put a little bit of dielectric grease or something inside this antenna before I put it back together, just to keep the corrosion out of there. So anyways, that's what I found with this 2021 Ranger. I've seen guys mount the radio in here, but with this one, with the touchscreen display, it's not, you don't have much room to mount them. But I think that's pretty good there, pretty good driver access and everything. It doesn't look that bad. Like I say, it's a company truck. This isn't something that's got to be custom built and for a customer that looks really nice. So I just got to pop a couple covers back on and it'll be done. Anyway, hope somebody finds this helpful. Like I say, there's a couple videos on installing these online, but a lot of them, they're going straight to battery for power. This one, I'm giving you a source of keyed power. So far, I've done the tests and it hasn't had any effect on either electronic functions in the vehicle, and also a place where you can mount it and how you can mount it and run your wires in the dash there. Yeah, it's about the only place I can think of, unless you went overhead console. That would be a lot more time to do that. So hope you found this helpful. To see you next time.